Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Harakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that surely do rule well. Salutation to each and every one of the Akim, the brethren that push this gospel out there in sincerity and in truth. Right, it's the brother Lamad from GMS Trinidad coming to do another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Harakakadash. Alright, and this is going to be a very short video. Alright, basically just something that I was watching here, as you could see. Matter of fact, let me play it real quick, alright, so you'll understand. Right.
Blood revenge, also known as blood law, was pretty straightforward. Basically, if one Native American ends the life of another, the deceased family had the legal right and societal obligation to end the life of someone in the accused family. This often happened between clans and between tribes. And the whole
right, so you hear that? They call it blood revenge. Alright, so what they were saying, if somebody from one clan, alright, murdered somebody from another clan, alright, they had the legal right basically to go back and take that person's life. So I'll just play it again. This is taken from a video clip that I sent in the group a while, right? In my camp, what happened to the Native Americans in the Battle of Little Bighorn. Alright, now you see, the reason why I'm bringing this out is just another proof that the Native Americans, alright, are also the children, the 10 lost tribes of the children of Israel. Alright, and when I now came into the camp, it had a book, right, basically a history book that I had, right, and they said that the natives also used to pay tithe. They used to pay a tenth of the increase of the land, and they used to bring it towards a priest king. At that time they had a priest king, a king who used to act as a priest, or a priest who used to act as a king, which goes back to the law. All right, and what the scriptures said, I'll bring out that precept. All right, real quick, right, as you can see here, Romans 2:14, for when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. Right, so these, the 10 tribes, right, which came over here, the Native Americans, the Cherokee, or what have you, the Caribs, the Arawaks, the Incas. Okay, they if anybody know the history, alright, second is just chapter 13 verse 40, how they came over here, the whole history with Christopher Columbus. They came over here to keep the laws that they never kept in the land, going back to Shalmaneser the fifth, when Hosea was the king of the northern tribe. Alright, they became a Gentiles because they walked after the way of these other nations, the Assyrians, the Babylonians. All right, so they became Gentiles in the flesh, coming back into 1 Corinthians chapter 12. All right, so the Lord cast them away, and he said, you are not my people. Right, lo ami, you are not my people. Hosea chapter 1 and verse 5 6, somewhere around there. All right, so they won't no longer call the children of Israel, right, the ethnos and the ethnicos, all right, the two words that they translated for Gentiles. All right, they will no longer call Israel, but they will call by these other foreign names. Okay, and that is why the apostle Paul went on to them. Yahushua said, other sheep that I have that are not of this fold, as we was explaining to somebody on the last weeks. All right, the Gentiles who Yahushua came for, when he the guy, he asked the question, when the scripture say he came unto his own, and his own received him not. All right, basically, if that didn't open the way to the Gentiles, and as I explained to him, I said, yeah, all right, but the Gentiles are the Israelites who walked after the manner of the flesh, the customs of the other nations. Okay, so when it said he came unto his own and his own received him not, mainly there were 3 tribes that was in the land, right, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They also had a remnant of Ephraim, remnant of Manasseh, all right, and this woman who used to be in the college back in the book of Luke, right, she was from the tribe of Asher. All right, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, cannot remember if it had any Naphtali, right? But the 10 main lost tribes, the northern tribes, they were already over here in the Americas, and they became what they known today as the Native Americans, the Hispanics, Caribs, Arawaks, Incas. Alright, so reading over Romans 2 verse 14, for when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. Alright, and as you could see here, this was a custom that they would have kept back into the land of Israel. So just playing it over. Blood revenge. The scripture call it the law of the avenger. Alright? Where now you're basically several 3 cities that the slayer go to hide for a period of time that the avenger slay not. Okay, so let me just go into read.
Blood revenge, also known as blood law, was pretty straightforward. Basically, if one Native American ends the life of another, the deceased family had the legal right and societal obligation to end the life of someone in the accused family.
Right, so this would go back into the law in Numbers 35 as I'll go into. Alright, and when you look up the word there for the avenger, alright, it goes back to a person next of kin, right? Next of kin, our close relative, alright?
Often happened between clans and between tribes, and the whole social structure revolved around the respect for retaliation. If the blood revenge was completed, the issue was accepted and resolved, and life went on. Despite its inherent savage nature, the law of blood revenge was deeply spiritual. It was believed.
It was deeply spiritual. And what the scripture say, the law is spiritual. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that real quick. Romans 7 and verse 14. This is the book of Romans chapter 7 and verse 14. It says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, soul under sin. Alright, so they said this was deeply spiritual. Alright, let me go ahead.
It was believed that the soul of the victim couldn't enter the spirit world until his death was avenged. Sometimes the law of blood revenge could get out of hand and lead to something called a mourning war. These were protracted conflicts between clans and tribes due to endless cycles of revenge.
Alright, so yeah. Stop it there. Alright, go into the scriptures real quick. The avenger. Alright, Numbers 35 and 12. Okay. So I will start at verse. Alright, at verse 9. Right, and read on till I get to the point. Alright, it says, Numbers 35 and verse 9, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye become over Jordan in the land of Canaan, then he shall appoint you cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the slayer may flee thither, which killeth any person at unawares. And there shall be unto you cities for refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer die not until he stand before the congregation in judgment. Alright, and of these cities ye shall give 6 cities shall ye have for refuge. Ye shall give 3 cities on this side Jordan, and 3 cities shall ye give in the land of Canaan, which shall be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be a refuge, both for the children of Israel, and for the stranger, and for the sojourner among them, that everyone that killeth any person unawares may flee thither. Alright, I don't know if this is the one that was explaining, like if 2 men working, alright, and one had like a pickaxe, you know, and basically slay he virgin unawares, you know, like the guy probably passed behind him and he swing back, he pickaxe and he died, you know, but he didn't do it for spite, you know, having no malice in his heart towards his brother, that he will flee to one of these cities, alright, until he hear the judgment from the high priest, you know, that he's innocent. So the avenger, which would be the person close relative, won't come and kill him. So this is the same thing that these Native Americans was practicing. Alright, it says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. All right, and this is if he did it with malice, like he premeditated the situation. Okay, it says, and if he smite him with throwing a stone wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. All right, and I did a class on this already. Alright, there's a difference between murder and there's a difference between righteous killing. Right, there are two different words. When the scripture said in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill, the word there is ratazak, which means to murder, which means to take an innocent life away. Alright, but most times when you go into the scriptures and the Most High say, if somebody is worthy of death, you will see two words there would either be mawat, or a next Hebrew word would be harag, which means to kill. Not at any point in time ratazak, which means to murder. The Most High do not permit murder. Alright, it says, and or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or matter of fact, I'm put on the Strongs where I'm at 18. Alright, so let me put on the Strongs one time to prove the point. Alright, so the word murderer goes back to the Hebrew, right? Strong's 7523, ratazak, right? Murder, right? Murderer, slayer. Okay, so I just a point there, right? So I read over verse 18. Or if he smite him with an hand weapon of wood wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Alright, so the word there, death or to kill, is mawat. Right, they have here muth or muth, but it is mawat. Right, mawatha, mawat. Alright, so it says verse 19, the revenger of blood. Okay, the revenger goes back to the Hebrew word ga'al, which Yahushai is our avenger. Our scripture said the day of vengeance is in his heart. Alright, okay, so let me go back here. A primitive root to redeem, isn't Yahushai our redeemer according to the oriental law of kinship. So they said in the video, let me just get our part real quick.
Blood revenge, also known as blood law, was pretty straightforward. Basically, if one Native American ends the life of another, the deceased family had the legal right and societal obligation to end the life of someone in the accused family. Right. This often happened between clans and between...
It is a relative, okay, a kingship, right? So that person from another tribe had the legal right and in the society to end the life of the other person, okay, which is righteousness, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Alright, is only Esau and his awkward way of life, right? It says, and you see, the thing is with these, if these laws that stand, it would hardly have these kind of murders. That's why the earth defile underneath the inhabitants thereof. It would have a fear where, you know, hey, I would have afraid to do somebody something. I would have afraid to smite somebody, you know, my own brethren in my heart. Have evil thoughts within inside my heart, knowing that guess what? If I'll be found guilty, that person could be able to do the same thing unto me. Okay? So the people would have been thinking. That is why, hey, even in this movie, they say fear is God's biggest weapon in his arsenal. Alright? So it says, reading on, according to the Oriental law, right, Eastern, that is to be the next of kin as such, to buy back a relative property, marry his widow, etc., in any wise at all, avenger. Alright, so King James version usage redeem, redeemer, kingsman, revenger, avenger, ransom, at all, deliver, king's foe. Alright, and the Most High going and ransom us from the hands of the wicked. That is why Yahushai came, and you know, and he died for us, and he's going to come back to avenge us on the hands of these Edomites. Okay, so going on, verse 20, but if he thrusts, no, let me read over 19. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer, and Esau is a murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. But if he thrust him of hatred, or hurl at him by laying of weight that he die, or in enmity smite him with his hand that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall slay the murderer when he meeteth him. But if he trust him suddenly without enmity, or have cast upon him anything without laying of weight, or with any stone wherewith a man may die, seeing him not, and casting it upon him, right, so by mistake, that he die, and was not his enemy, neither sought his harm, the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood according to these judgments. Alright, so they never say anything about that part if they kept that part. Alright, but because we know at the end of the day they was still kind of going off when they came over here over the many waters, pursuing back into 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and verse 40. Okay, but yeah, they were keeping the laws, and as I said before, they used to pay tithes, 10% of the increase to the land to a priest king, right? And if anybody know anything about that back in the ancient days, it couldn't be a priest king or a can be a priest and a king, or a king and a priest. Alright, Uzziah get in trouble for that. Okay, one of the kings of Judah, Yahushua is the only king, priest, prophet that opened that way for the nation as a kingdom of priests. Okay, so reading to verse 25, and the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to the city of his refuge, which is the tree, whether he was fled, and he shall abide in it until the death of the high priest, which was Salakia, which was anointed with the holy oil. Right? So you see, it have ways of how to, keep judgment. But in this place, they don't do that. Alright? But if the slayer shall at any time come without the border and the city of his refuge, where he was fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, and the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in the city of his refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his own possession. So whether he from one of the lands of Naphtali, Zebulun, Benjamin, Judah, he'll be able to go back into his land, however. Okay, verse 29, so these things shall be for a statute of judgment unto you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoso killeth any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses, but one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. And I can remember we always speak about that here in Trinidad, where some people escape from prison, and a number of the people in prison get to realize that only one person witnessed against all their crimes, right? One particular female, and people was like, oh, how this one particular female could be witness to all these crimes. Alright, so they just escape from prison, use a phone where they could explain their side of the story. Alright, it says verse 31, moreover he shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death, but he shall be surely put to death, right? And thy righteous judgment. Alright, and he shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again to dwell in the land until the death of the high priest. So he shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Defile not therefore the land which he shall inhabit, wherein I dwell, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yashai dwell among the children of Israel. Alright, so at the end of the day, as I say, a very quick video to prove, that these Native Americans was actually keeping the laws of the Most High over on this side, proving that they are Israelites through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yashai. Alright, anyway, Brother Lamar once again say shalom to the hopeful leg, Mount Lababal, right? DTA, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahshai, Bahashem, Harakakadash, double honesty, the apostles and elders of great millstone that surely do well. Citation, teacher, everyone, I can push this gospel out in sincerity and truth. Shalom.